as a teenager trying to work on my personality and figure out who I was becoming. And if you want to be somebody that's just like a low-key person, then this video is for you. I'm going to share with you the tips, tricks, psychology hacks to help you be a low-key, low-maintenance person and honestly help you enjoy life a little bit more. Something important to remember is that being a teenager is a time to figure out who you are and what you like and what's part of your personality and what you don't like and what maybe you want to change about yourself. And that is all okay. But here's some ideas that you can try if you want to be somebody that's just low-key, right? And we always say that as like such a positive thing. They're such a low-key person. And the first thing that I would suggest for you is to not record or post or document every single ounce of your life. There is so much maintenance and stress and pressure that comes with trying to be somebody that always posts and always has the stories in the Instagram and is sharing every glamorous moment of your life and is trying so hard to get the shot, right? And I get it. I'm somebody that's like, I guess a quote unquote like influencer, right? Like I have an Instagram and I post all the time and I am sometimes thinking about how I'm going to shoot these things, right? But that's for a different purpose. That's for my business, okay? Is not for the purpose of trying to show off to people. And that's what you really got to check. If you're somebody that you're like, I just love pictures, I just love doing this, do that. But there is a perception that comes off when you're somebody that posts all the time, every single little thing that you're doing all day, every single day. And that's a lot of work if we're being honest. On that same note, my second tip for you is to take social media breaks. There is a lot of good out there on social media. I'm somebody that's out there on social media and I try to share tips to help teens. There's a lot of trash out there. A lot of trash. And even if you're not hitting the trash of social media, there's a lot of comparison. There's a lot of unhealthy behaviors that can sneak up because all day, every day, I'm just seeing pictures of influencers' bodies or my friends and on their awesome vacations or with their boyfriend, right? And we start to compare and think, and that can just really spin us into thinking we're not enough. And the whole vibe with like, I'm a low-key person is I'm cool with who I am and I don't need to prove anything, right? So that all comes with managing this part that's a big part of a teenager's life, right? Social media. The third thing to remember to be a low-key person is to laugh at life. Use humor, love humor. When bad things happen to you, just kind of look at it and think about the story that you could tell later about this. Some of the people that I admire the most in my life and I think are, oh, they're just such a low-key person, they roll with the punches, is they have that ability that like life doesn't faze them, you know? And that's such a calming thing to be around. So if you want to be more like that, we've got to practice that skill. That when heart-wrenching things come our way or when really hard things come, it's not that we don't feel it. It's not that we shove down those emotions. We feel it, but we also recognize that everybody gets out alive. Like, I wanted to say gets out alive, but we don't. We all die at the end. But like, do you get what I mean? Of just like, we all survive high school and we all go through hard things. And one day you're going to look back at these moments that feel so embarrassing and earth-shattering right now. And you're going to think how funny they are. So think about the story that you want to tell about your life and fill it with humor and fill it with like, yeah, I can't believe these kind of things happen. Like that's nuts. And so I would advise you to go find people that are really good at this. Like for me, I think about my dad or my sister. They're so good at rolling with the punches. Like nothing phases them. And ask yourself, how would that person react in this situation? On how to be a low-key person is to allow other people to relax around you. I think often of the opposite of this. So in Mean Girls, right? Regina George, I think that's her name. Nobody can relax around her, right? They've got to be at attention. They got to be doing what she wants. They got to be like feeding to her every whim. And if you don't pay her certain attention, like I think we all kind of know people like that. And that's obviously an extreme example, but just somebody that if you don't say or do the exact right thing, they're going to be offended or mad at you. Or man, if you don't help them with this one thing, they're going to be so upset around you, right? We want to be the opposite of that. We want to be like, that doesn't mean we lower our standards or our expectations around people, but we're we have grace that we give other people, and we are forgiving, and we're chill, and people can relax and be themselves around us, and we're not going to judge them, and we're just going to like embrace them for who they are. And it's more of an attitude, I would say, than necessary actions. But I think we know what the opposite of this is more easily than it is to describe what it means to be somebody that just allows people to be themselves around them. So try to adopt that attitude when you're trying to be a low-key person. Hey, my next tip for you is to just accept and act as you really would. So I had an experience this week that made me think about this video and why I wanted to film it. And I was at the swimming pool of all things with my little boys, and they were taking off their swimsuits. We were like in the locker room. And so by the time we got to like our locker, they were like running around naked. And I remember thinking for a second, like, oh, should I like do something about that? And then in my head, I was like, nah, because it's fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're in a locker room. I'm about to change them into their clothes. Like, they're little boys. It's fine, right? And so just this idea that I'm going to honor what I truly want to do. I could have, on the flip side of that, it made me think about in high school, I would have thought, oh, I can't be like that. I've got to be proper and like all these things. And it was just interesting to me to have this experience where my true blue, honest gut feeling when I checked in with myself was, I don't really care that my boys are running around naked in this locker room, you know, for lots of reasons, right? And I know that's a really weird example, but I remember distinctly in high school trying to fit a mold and be somebody I wasn't. So whether that was like, oh, today I'm going to be a really like girly girl and princess, and I'm going to act like this character in a movie I've seen, right? Or like heavily influenced by that. Or I'm going to be a little bit more edgy and try to be more fun so that this guy likes me, right? We're always trying to morph our personality into something that we're maybe not. So I want to challenge you to check in with yourself of like, what's my true blue feelings? And it might be to say something. It might be to act this way or to let this go, and to honor that, right? To just let yourself act and behave and react to people in the way that you really want to. And obviously, part of the whole journey of personal development is to continue to refine those actions that we choose to take into the person we want to become, right? There's what we call like the natural man of like, if I asked my 3-year-old, hey, what do you want to eat for breakfast? He would tell me Reese's Puffs. And if I told him, hey, what do you want to eat for lunch? He'd say Reese's Puffs. And I'd say, hey, what do you want to eat for dinner? He'd say Reese's Puffs, right? And he would never want to share his toys, and he would never want to take a bath, and he would never want to do all like the things that you need to do to be a healthy, thriving 3-year-old, okay? Obviously, we all have that inside of us, right? That sometimes wants to be mean, or sometimes wants to eat sugar all day, or sometimes just wants to sleep all day. And that part of us, we want to change and grow into the mature part of us. But there's part of our personalities that doesn't need to change, right? The part of us that's just like, this is how I would genuinely react. So I know that was a long explanation, but I hope that helps. My last tip for you on becoming a low-key person is taking full responsibility for yourself. And this is a little bit more of a practical tip of a high maintenance person needs lots of help and lots of people and like demands attention. And I don't know, like I just kind of think of like those shows where the one girl walks in and there's somebody take her hat, and then there's somebody take her coat, and there's just all this buzz around them. And I just think to be a low-key person is you know how to take care of yourself, and you know where to put your stuff and where it is, and you don't need people to baby you. And your parents will especially notice this if you can just start to take responsibility for your own self, your own actions, and just be somebody that's willing to roll with the punches. This kind of goes back to that attitude of, sure, I can drive myself there. Sure, I can do this, right? And being brave enough to do things on your own. So those are my tips for you on how to be a low-key person. Obviously, there's so many different things that you can do to embrace that personality type. But if you can find some role models to look at and to emulate and to ask yourself, okay, how would they react in this situation? That really can help you out. So I hope this video helps you out. If you're a teenager looking to master young adulthood and beyond, please subscribe to my channel. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Abbi J out.